The Trump administration is considering suspending habeas corpus to speed up deportations, which means it's time to pull out our old catchphrase, say it with me. Let's talk about why in this edition of The Unpopulists' Executive Watch Abuse of the Week. Habeas corpus ensures people held by the government, regardless of citizenship, can appear before a judge to challenge the basis of their detention. It predates the Constitution and was part of the Magna Carta. When the Founding Fathers did add it to the U.S. Constitution, they did so in the original document, before they added the Bill of Rights and all the things we usually consider foundational. It's how courts catch government mistakes, how wrongful arrests are corrected, and how legal rights are enforced against executive power. The move would strip migrants of the right to challenge their detention in court, but also would likely impact legal residents, because if you get arrested, how are you going to prove you're allowed to be in the country if you can't appear before a judge? Without it, the government can operate in the dark, and that's exactly what Donald Trump and his chief ghoul, Stephen Miller, want. One thing that has been slowing Trump's wide-reaching immigration crackdown is the court's role in reviewing whether those arrests and detentions are lawful. The plan to get around this hinges on a clause in the Constitution that allows for the suspension of habeas corpus only in cases of rebellion or invasion. Trump's legal team has floated the idea that unauthorized immigrants constitute an invasion already. It's how they tried to justify their use of the Alien Enemies Act, but at least 4 federal judges have rejected that interpretation, and the Supreme Court specifically noted that migrants subject to deportation under the act were entitled to challenge their removal through federal habeas corpus petitions. But there's another issue. It's important to note that Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution, which outlines the narrow set of circumstances that do allow for the suspension of habeas corpus, pertains to the legislative powers vested in Congress, not the president. While Stephen Miller has argued that the Immigration and Nationality Act gives the executive branch sole discretion in those cases, a U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit rejected that argument, saying that the government dramatically overstates the reach of the immigration law. Suspending habeas corpus isn't about security. It's about testing the limits of authoritarian rule. If he succeeds, no one's rights are safe. And that's your Executive Watch Abuse of the Week. For more on every single executive overreach and the erosion of constitutional norms, subscribe for free at theunpopulist.net.